So back when I was still painting this car, which I promise I will get back to soon enough, it's the only reason I haven't had any videos out on it lately is just because I'm held up by parts and money right now, and you know, nothing's really gonna do anything about that. I'm not gonna, you know, go start a GoFundMe for car parts for a car project and anything like that. But anyway, back when I was painting this car, I bought a 80, what was that, 81, 82? It was a Series 2 RX-7 that I bought. I got it for an okay deal. I probably wouldn't have bought it for that price if I knew what I know now, but, you know, live and learn. But anyway, I already ripped that car all apart. The engine ran and drivetrain worked for the most part, so I pulled all that out, put in another car, which we'll do a thing on eventually, but that car's already been gone and scrapped. But whenever I got that car, an old friend of mine hit me up and said that he had a yellow Series 1 RX-7 that's just been sitting on his property for years, asked if I wanted it for scrap price. So I went and picked that up, of course. Couldn't help myself on that one. And it was a mostly complete car, just been sitting for like 10 years. And, you know, it looked good enough that I could fix it up for the most part. So picked it up, brought it back, and here it sits. Voila. So this is my yellow first gen Series 1 RX-7. Friend gave it to me for literally scrap price. Just got the, you know, the weight of the car and just told him I'd give him 10 cents a pound for it. Same thing that, you know, that he'd get for scrap. I had to drive all the way to Tennessee to get it. And unfortunately, for the entire time it sat outside, this window was broken out. I finished pulling all the rest of it off, but there was a sizable hole right here. So it is not the cleanest thing in the world, obviously. I mean, most people wouldn't sell you a car for scrap unless it was, especially not a, you know, a car like an RX-7. And despite the fact that it looks so bad, all the rust in the doors and everything like that, that's only because somebody tried to delete the little, these have a little indent for where the trim goes in these. They tried to delete that with a bunch of Bondo, which I've since pulled off because they never finished it. They just did the Bondo and then didn't even primer over top of it, and it just sort of sat and rusted out for 10 plus years. But it's honestly not that bad. It's mostly surface rust. Right now I have it all coated in, what's that stuff called? Oh, fluid film. So hopefully, you know, I'm just preventing rust right now because honestly, the most unfortunate thing about this car is that parts of the floor are starting to rust through. Like there's a hole here, that hole's designed, but still. Yeah, a lot of water got inside this car and it didn't sit, but it definitely soaked in enough to cause the floor to start rotting out. It's not nearly as bad as on the other side, but the hatch, if it'll open right now, I don't know if it will. Yeah. The worst part about it for me is that the hatch, if you look back here, underneath the trim and stuff, it's starting to rust out along all the seams. And as far as trying to repair all that by hand, it's not really something that I'm going to be able to do effectively. So this car is probably going to be the first and hopefully last car that I ever get chemical dipped to remove everything from. But that's not a project I'm trying to get into today or anytime soon. So I'm gonna hold off on that for now. But whereas with my FD, I'm held up by parts because everything costs so much. This car I'm not. I paid 150 bucks and now I have all the parts that I need to get it running and driving in the most basic of senses. So gonna go ahead and put all those on today. Probably won't get it all done today, obviously, because I gotta rebuild a carburetor too. But I have everything I need now. So I'm gonna see if I can't get this thing running and driving just enough to putt around the yard a little bit, just to get a little bit of enjoyment out of it. As you see, the engine's all there, obviously. It's just got a lot of the rat's nest deleted. My plans for this car is pretty much all OEM, so I don't really care about emission stuff. I deleted all that. I'm gonna go bare bones, just 12A rotary, keep it NA, just get it working, running for now, able to drive around. I thought this car was gonna be a lot harder than it actually will be, because I thought it didn't have a clutch at all because the clutch had no feedback. But I started poking around at it, and turns out this was jammed in the open position. I kind of pushed it back in, but I'll I'll put up a picture of what it looked like when I found it. But it was jammed all the way in the open position, and the clutch was just stuck, you know, disconnected. So figured that out, popped it off, and the clutch popped right back in. So I'm confident the clutch will at least work. So I just gotta get, I have a new slave cylinder, I have a new master cylinder, because the master cylinder doesn't work either. I tried pumping it, it doesn't do anything, it just doesn't want to come back. It's also seized up in there. And I have a new hose, although I couldn't find a 79 specific hose on Rock Auto. They didn't have any in stock, I guess, or they didn't really list it on the website at all. I ordered a 81 plus hose for it, but I don't know if that's going to work or not. I don't think it is the same, so if it doesn't work, you know, I'm pretty sure this hose at least will still hold pressure. We'll see what happens. If not, you can still order them off of Atkins Rotary. Order one of those and do it when that shows up. But yeah, I mean, I've already had this engine running in the past. I tore the carb off of it because it was like, you know, it was a really old carburetor, so it needs to be rebuilt before I can actually like idle and everything, because like I had it barely working just off of, you know, a little bucket of gas up on the cowl with the hose leading into the intake, and that made it work good enough with me pumping my foot. But you know, it wasn't exactly going to keep it running. So I'm going to replace the fuel pump because it didn't have fuel, obviously. That's why I did the bucket. Rebuild the carburetor, replace the clutch line or the clutch cylinders. And I know the engine has good compression. It's not the best compression, but it's good enough. And other than that, all I need is spark plug wires. I need spark plug wires because I kind of took the ones off this one to put them on my other one to make it run better. But still fucking with that one, so we'll get to that on a later date. But right now it's not a project I really want to put much time into at this moment. And by the way, I don't think I ever really mentioned it before, but the reason I scrapped the white one, the first one I got, was because it was way too far gone. Like, this whole section was just rotted out underneath where the window is, as well as the other side. The middle was pretty bad. And it's because these fill up with stuff, clog the drain holes, and then all the water flowing off the hatch builds up right here, and it just holds water forever. And so just rusted out there. The roof had, like, the roof was a hard top on that one. You can see this one I need a new sunroof for anyway. But that one, like, it had a hard top, and the roof had like a whole, like, huge area here that looked like it had like water dripping on it for 20 years plus. That one, by the way, sat for over 20 years too. So this one only sat for half as long, but still 10 years. But yeah, I scrapped that one because it was just way too much. There was no way I was bringing that one back. It also had like a ton of body damage. Like someone hit it right here at some point in time, and somebody tried to fix it but did a terrible job of it. There was probably about a good 1.5 inches of mud built up, where they tried to just fill it in with literally the worst body repair I've ever done. But I have the window from that I'm going to put on here. I just haven't done it yet because, like I said, this car needs to be chemical dipped to properly remove all the rust. Otherwise it's just going to rust out from all the seams after I paint it. So once I actually get that done, I'll worry about the window. But for now, don't worry, I've been keeping it covered underneath the car cover, and I haven't had any issues with water building up on the inside since then, so not really concerned right now. As for the interior of this car, it's honestly not missing too much, but I've been looking for replacement parts for, you know, obviously what's missing in here. And this car is like twice as hard to find parts for as any other car I've owned. Like, they're not expensive most of the time, they're just hard to find. Like, I finally found someone who has the radio bezel. Can't find anybody that has the actual radio. Can't find anybody that has the shifter surround. Can't find anybody that has tan front carpets. It's been a struggle, but luckily the majority of the parts that I'm looking for are just wear components that you can get off Rock Auto. But as far as like the interior, like, you know, I'm just gonna have to keep looking, I guess, because I still need, obviously I need a new sunroof, but I also need the sunroof like cover. I have it in the back and it's in horrible condition. And you know, I got the rear view mirror coming. But yeah, I mean, luckily I'm not gonna be driving this car anywhere anytime soon, because yeah, it's hard to find these parts. I'm obviously gonna have to do something with these seats. I don't know if I'm gonna run an aftermarket seat or if I'm gonna look into getting these reupholstered or something, but they're both gone. They're just pure gone. But if I do use these again, I definitely want to get them reupholstered with plaid centers, because plaid in these cars just works. The dash, I'm not super concerned about, honestly. It's got some cracks, whatever. It's a 79. It's gonna have cracks. And a windshield, obviously. I'll deal with that once it's actually, after I dip it and restore it. I'm not gonna be on the road anytime soon, like I said. And one more thing about this car, because I know a lot of people might be like, why are you wasting your time on this shell that needs probably $10,000 worth of work to get it back to where it should be? Right there. This is a 3 of 78 car. They started production in 2 of 78. So this is second month of production. This is one of the first few runs of these cars ever pushed out of the factory. So I want to save this one pretty much regardless of what it takes. So I want to bring this thing back to life instead of just scrapping such a early production car. Alright, so a couple of issues with the clutch stuff. So I got the slave cylinder here. It's fine. Everything about this should work. But this hose for 81 plus is for 79 to 80. I was hoping this wouldn't be an issue, but it turned out it was. So the only difference is the threads are wrong. So I'm gonna put this on my other car, but the other one I'm gonna have to order another one for this slave. So one that'll actually match this thread pattern. Because I've already got this. I'm not gonna return it just to run a newer style one like I probably should have in the first place. But the other issue, here's a new master cylinder, and it would be good, but if you look at the 79, you'll notice this is at an angle. 81 plus is straight up and down, and they sent me the wrong one. So I gotta return this, get a new hose, and yeah, oh well. I might have been able to bend this back in the right shape, but I'd honestly rather just not, just get the right master cylinder. So might be a couple days before I get back to that part, but I'll keep chugging along with what I'm doing in the meantime, though. So actually, doing a little bit more research, it turns out that this offset design, hood fell on me, is not just 79 to 80. It's only up until 4 of 79 production. So this is, technically they sent me the right part. I just ordered the wrong one, because this is specific to my car because it's for the first 2 months of production. So issues with dealing with early model cars, but I still want to keep with the original one because I don't want to try to bend this line up and make it look like crap. So I'm gonna go ahead and order another one of these for, you know, for the right type, and I'll just use the other one on my 84, which we'll get to, you know, like I said, some other day. Alright, so starting with the fuel pump, because it should be the only part of the car I actually have to lift it up for, so may as well just get it out of the way right away. I'm pretty sure this is actually the original fuel pump to the car, and as you can see, it mounts right to these two sides, right, and then the lines curve off this way. When you order the new pump, cheap little thing, like 15 bucks, comes like this. It doesn't have any fittings to curve, so you kind of just have to make it work, but at least it will. So you get these two pieces on, just got to tighten them up real quick. Okay, then I'm just going to zip these off. And because the OEM one uses this little extra piece right here and mounts to both sides, but the aftermarket one does not have that, I'm either going to mount to the top of it like this, or if that's not sturdy enough, I'm just going to remove this entirely and just mount it direct. Yeah, now that's just going to flop all over the place. I'm just going to mount it directly to the metal. Luckily the kit comes with something for that. Alright, just like that. And actually, because this gets so close to the edge, I'm just going to scoot this as far to one side as I can. Now, if you go into the car, the OEM fuel pump wiring is this. And unfortunately, the car didn't have this plug for the female end to go to the actual pump. Luckily, me being a massive hoarder, I have extra turn signals, and the plug for the turn signal is the correct plug. So I'm just going to sacrifice this and use this plug for the fuel pump instead. Hopefully I don't regret that later. I did figure out that the red now would actually be the ground, and I'm pretty sure this wasn't doing it anymore. Okay, for some reason it still does it. I don't know why. I'm not the biggest expert when it comes to fuel pump wiring or wiring in cars in general, honestly, but I know this is ground, I know this is power, and it makes fuel pump work for whatever reason, even though they both apparently go to ground. So let me go ahead and crimp these together and finalize this connection. I gotta heat these, but for now we'll move on with the other stuff. So yeah, I don't think that'll kink. We'll find out. Man. But anyway, this goes to a fuel filter from the tank. No, this goes to a fuel filter from the tank. This goes to the car. So I gotta get the fuel filter figured out while I'm underneath there. Obviously there's this. This also comes with a kit. As far as I can tell, this is just a strainer. Because you're using the fuel filter, you don't need to use this, but it would bolt on to either side, but it doesn't really leave a whole lot of room, so I'm not gonna run it. Hoses, yeah, extra parts, whatever. Let me grab a flathead. Let me go heat this together so it's, you know, sealed, and get this thing put underneath the car. All right. Going underneath. It's a tight fit. Got 3 things supporting the car. Hopefully I don't die. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Alright, so this mounts something like this. All these spots. So I need, oh, that one's broke, that sucks. I need 110 mil, and I already have a nut for that stud. But this goes up like this. I believe that's called a rollover valve. Basically, just if the car rolls over, it'll, you know, creates a check valve so they don't keep leaking fuel out. And then this goes to the filter, which would come off of this line, I'm fairly certain. Yep. But it's not there. That's interesting. Could have sworn I left it under here. Oh well. But luckily, this is attached, everything else is external, so I can at least mount this now. So let me get one of these nuts. I'll deal with the rest of that later. Now, alright, so got a line going from out of the filter into the car. This is gonna be a pain, actually. There's no kinks, that's good. But I have to figure out how to get, so I'm just gonna put a fuel filter right here, and I'm gonna make it go to this somehow. Call it a day. All right, I got a thing hooked up down there. It's got an old fuel filter, old dirty fuel filter in there, just because this thing has been sitting with some amount of gas in it for over 10 years. It's gonna be dirty, and unfortunately there's no drain plug in the tank, and I don't really want to pull the whole tank out right now. So I'm just gonna basically just dirty up that filter even more. But I'm gonna go ahead and turn the key on. Should start spraying fuel out of here. I'm gonna fill this up and try to get as much bad stuff out of the tank as I can, and then refill with good fuel. Here we go. Fuel pump's on. Alright, for some reason that's not pumping anything. I'm thinking it's probably just a little bit low, to where it's not wanting to pull the initial suction, so I'm gonna add a little bit more fuel, see if that gets me anywhere. Like maybe a gallon at most, so let's see if that was enough to do it. Okay. I think I'm gonna start popping some lines off, see what the problem is. First off, let's make sure this thing's actually discharging. All right. No. There's nothing coming out of this. Okay, so that was drawing a vacuum on this. Ugh. Might have a clog at the tank, which would suck. Let's see. It goes in here. Yeah, so whatever line this is completely stopped up by something. Let me see. I'm gonna go verify this is actually the suction, just so I'm not wasting any more time on it. And the survey says, yes, that is definitely the suction, and it's definitely clogged up. So I have to drop the tank anyway. At least it's a good opportunity to clean it out. But let me get that started. Hopefully I don't destroy it. Of it is not very bad at all. I was really worried about this. 79 to 80 fuel tanks. What's the difference? Is it that these, I think these used a full-size spare and the later models used like a small donut spare, or it's the opposite of one way or another. This specific fuel tank is unobtainium. I mean, you go and rust it all day, sure, but one that without rust, impossible to find pretty much. So really hoping I have like barely any rust on the inside too, but we're about to find out. So before I move on any further, I'm going to take this into my driveway and I'm going to pressure wash this. I'll get back to you when I'm done with that. All right. Got the thing all pressure washed off. I took the filler off. Now I'm gonna go ahead and dump it out into my waste collection barrel here and see how bad it is inside. Personally, I don't have high hopes for it, but let's see. Oh man, straight Dr. Pepper. Yeah. That's not a good sign. It's pretty brown. That stuff looks like root beer. Okay. I'm gonna pop that off too. Alright. Fuel cylinder condition is a pretty good indicator of how the inside of the tank looks. And I'd say the inside of the tank doesn't look very good. No. Okay, cool. pretty much what I expected, honestly. Let me dump more of this out. Get a flashlight. Well, I can totally understand why the suction is clogged. It's not all that great inside. Although, poke around. Yeah. So, the inside of this tank looked a lot like the inside of my Cressida's fuel tank did. Something I never put on my YouTube, unfortunately, but that car's fuel tank was pretty rusty. But all I did was wash it out really good, fill it up with vinegar, just vinegar, and let it sit for a couple days, and then dump it all out, clean it all out again. And that tank was pretty close to perfect, honestly. As close as you're gonna get for a, what is this car, 40 years old plus? I don't know. So I'm gonna have to do the same thing here by the looks of it. So that's gonna be a process, but hopefully not too big of a deal. Hopefully it'll turn out just like the Cressida is. The only problem with this tank, it doesn't have nearly as many openings. It's only got these and this. Everything else is sealed off. So I'm gonna do what I can, but like I said, these tanks, you can't get them. They basically don't exist. So I'm gonna have to make it work. Gonna have to work with what I got. Let me get that started. Just so y'all have an idea what I'm looking at. I'll put it in here. Yeah, there you go. It is not looking the best. But again, I think I can make it look a lot better, because all that stuff you're seeing right there is just loose rust. The actual like bottom of the tank covered in old fuel right now, but it's honestly not the worst. I have seen much worse. So I just got to wash this thing out really, and then like I said, put some acid in there. I'm gonna use vinegar, and then neutralize it with some water and baking soda, and then fill it back up with fuel, put it back in the car. Alright, here it is after the first wash. I can get a better light it for there. Like I said, all that was just loose. So the bottom of it's honestly not too terrible. Wherever, you know. Like I said, now I'm gonna fill it up completely with just straight vinegar, let it sit for a day, come back to it, dump all that out, and we're gonna see brand new fresh metal basically. Here's a fuel sending unit 4. I'm just showing this because, as with the Cressida's fuel tank, its fuel sending unit was in pretty similar shape. But I'm going to install this and leave it in a way so that the vinegar will be affecting this as well. And it'll clean this thing right up inside and out and make it work again, because right now I can't even move it. Now obviously it'd be pretty dumb to put all this work into making the inside of the tank clean if I'm just going to leave the outside all rusty. So instead I'm going to go ahead and clean it up real quick and hit it with some POR 15, POR 15, however you want to say it, so the top of the tank is protected. Alright, so it's been a few days. I've let this thing soak with vinegar, and then I flushed it with 2 gallons of distilled water mixed with half a thing of baking soda each to neutralize the acid of the vinegar and keep it from flash rusting as much as possible. It's still going to flash rust a little bit, more than likely, but I get my light here, show you. Get this thing off. As you can already see, it is a lot better than it used to be. Still not perfect, and I wasn't expecting it to be perfect, but like I said, you know, better than it used to be. You can see that's just some stuff built up at the bottom. That's a little bit of the water and just stuff that's just floating in. I'm gonna flush a little bit more. It's probably gonna flash rust a little bit more, but this is worlds better than it used to be. Now, unfortunately, back there where the pickup tube is, you see a little bit of stuff, and that mostly washed up. But what that is, that's not actually corrosion from what I can tell. That is just gunk from old fuel, and I'm pretty sure that that is clogging my fuel line, my suction line at least, which would be this, because I've tried everything I possibly can to get this cleared out, and unfortunately it just will not clear out the clog. I've tried pipe cleaners, I've tried 100 psi air, just blasting into it even with a hose connected for a better seal. Nothing is clearing this out. So I pretty much only have one option, because nothing else is working. I'm gonna have to cut it off as close to the base as I can, use a drill to drill out the surface for where it is actually welded onto it. It's welded on right here as well, so I'm gonna have to do, I don't know, something about that to try to get the whole thing out. And I'm pretty much just gonna have to remake this so that I have a fuel suction pickup piece, right? Unfortunately, I don't think there's any other way around that. Like I said, I cannot get it to clear out no matter what I try, so. I'll be the first to admit that that definitely could have come out just a little bit cleaner, but at the end of the day, shouldn't have any leaks. The pickup is in pretty much the right spot. I actually did aim a little bit away from all that sludge over there just to give it a better chance of not clogging up again, and I am of course going to try to clean that up a little bit more as much as I can. But yeah, we got ourselves a unclogged suction line, so this thing should be ready to just throw back on the car. Hook a pipe up too. I'm gonna paint around this a little bit first just in case, but just to, you know, keep it from rusting and everything. But other than that, this thing is ready to go back in the car. And here's that fuel sender after the treatment. As you see, it's completely free moving now. I've already tested it on the car actually to see if it would affect the reading on the cluster, and it does, so it's freed up, it actually works, and it's good to use again. A little dirty from sitting around since I actually finished cleaning it, but yeah, not bad. Alright, so I just kind of did this part without you guys. I mean, there's nothing really exciting about installing a clutch master and slave cylinder, but got the new one, a little bit weirder because it's got this little, you know, blank off on one side, but whatever, it works, right? Got all that done, topped off. New hose, OEM Mazda from Atkins Rotary. Get the new slave cylinder installed. It's all bled. I know you don't really have feel for this through the camera, but the clutch is working. At least it feels like it's working. So I would imagine that it actually is working. But man, look how much nasty fluid came out of just literally just that line. Like, I would assume some of this is mixed up with the new fluid, but man, that's incredible how much just nasty stuff came out of like maybe 2 feet of line. Crazy. But anyway, that's done. Also, as you can probably tell, I got spark plug wires all into. Again, nothing exciting, just sort of did it off camera. So that should all be good and wired up. All I gotta do now is finish up with the fuel tank and get the carburetor rebuilt and installed. Alright, so a little bit of a development here. This is actually the carburetor that came with this car, and that's the one that I just had on it. And for some reason this one's just not quite doing the job. I think it might have gotten clogged up again. I thought I flushed the line enough, but I guess not. And also, since the last time you saw me, I have learned pretty much everything there is to know about point style ignition. Turns out there's a lot more to it than you might think. It's not super complicated, but it is a little complicated if you've never dealt with it before. But I've gone through all kinds of troubleshooting with this. I got the points, what do you call them? Not clearanced, but gapped. So the points are gapped. I made sure that they have, you know, good contact, everything like that. Yeah, made sure all the spark plugs have good spark signal. The only thing I didn't do was replace the condensers, because pretty sure mine are doing just fine. So I'm gonna hold off on that until I, you know, really rip this thing apart and rebuild everything. For now, they work. I'm gonna leave them in there. But yeah, I installed the original one, the original carburetor, that is, because I, you know, like I said, the other one wasn't working, so I ordered a rebuild kit for it and rebuilt this one. And we're gonna go ahead and fire it up, see if it'll run. Alright, here goes nothing. Yes. Yes. Alright, it's running. Alright, it kind of idles. It's not great at idling, but I can tune that a little bit later. I'm gonna let it warm up a little bit, and then we'll get to running it, actually. See if it'll move. Alright, it's been running for a few minutes now. The temperature gauge, I don't think it really works. Either that or it's just failed to open or something, because it's still at the low point. So by now it's got to be warm. Nothing seems to be crazy hot in the engine bay, so just go ahead and do it. See if she'll move. Oh yeah. She's going. Heck yeah. Let's see if the brakes work. Okay, brakes work. A little bit, they're not great. I wouldn't take it on the road, obviously. Not gonna do that anyway. The front tires would probably blow up on me. But dude, she's running. Running and driving. Look at this. I'm not gonna drift in my yard too much here or anything, but heck yeah. Maybe I will drift a little bit in my yard. Oops. Jeez, I gotta get an LSD in this thing. the temperature thing being the way it is, I don't want to run it for too long, so I'm gonna go ahead and park it. See if reverse works. And it does. Passenger side mirror, so I can't tell if I'm like running something over there or anything. I don't think I am. I can't think of anything that'd be back there. All right. Yeah, that doesn't work. I'm gonna go ahead and kill it now. Heck yeah. Well, now I'm excited, and I wish I could keep going with this thing. But like I said earlier, I'm not going to be able to do a whole lot more to it from this point on until I actually have a chance to completely rip it apart. But I'm probably going to not even be at this property by then, honestly. So that'll be a while, but we're going to get to it. If you haven't noticed already, got myself a radio gauge or a radio faceplate here. Missing a couple things, not the most secure, but I mean it works. I got the bezel for this too. I just have it sent off right now at a friend's house. He's going to be trying to 3D print a retainer for the boot because the OEM ones are just demolished at this point in time. I got this ugly shifter on it for now. I'll eventually do something about that, and working with a guy on that already. And you notice I have a sunroof like headliner now. That's because I also have a new sunroof. Yes, it's black on brown. I might be able to fix that, don't know yet, but there's no rust in the sunroof, and that's all that matters. Look, it pops up. But cool. All right. Anyway, this video is running pretty long already, so I'm gonna have to cut it off here. But if you enjoyed, leave a like if you don't mind. Subscribe to the channel, see more. Not of this anytime soon, like I said, but I'm gonna be getting back to the FD pretty soon. I also got something in my garage I'm cooking up that should be out pretty soon as well. But aside from that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.